It started on a night like any other. A cold wind howled outside, rattling the loose window panes of my new apartment. The place was nothing special, a one-bedroom unit on the 4th floor, overlooking an empty street. I had moved in a week ago, eager for a fresh start. Life had been tough lately, and I needed solitude. I never believed in ghosts. Or hauntings. Or whatever else people whispered about in dark corners. But that night, something changed. It was close to midnight when I noticed it. I was brushing my teeth, getting ready for bed, when I caught movement in the mirror. At first, I dismissed it, probably just my reflection shifting as I moved. But then I looked again. My breath hitched. The reflection in the mirror showed my window. And in that window, a face stared back at me. A face that wasn't mine. My stomach twisted into a knot. My first instinct was to turn around. I hesitated, my mind racing through logical explanations. Maybe it was a trick of the light, maybe I was overtired. But deep down, I knew better. Slowly, I turned. Nothing. Just the window, the curtain slightly parted, revealing the darkness outside. The streetlights below flickered. My pulse pounded in my ears as I stepped forward, gripping the edge of the windowsill. I stared at the glass, expecting to see something, but there was only my own wide-eyed reflection. Had I imagined it? I took a shaky breath, convinced myself it was a mistake, and yanked the curtain shut. The next night, I stayed up late, scrolling mindlessly through my phone, trying to shake the uneasy feeling that had settled in my chest. The room was eerily silent, save for the occasional creak of the old wooden floorboards. Then I heard it. Tap. 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 The sound was soft, almost hesitant. My fingers froze over my screen. The noise had come from the window. I swallowed hard, turning my head slowly. The curtain swayed gently, though there was no breeze. My heart pounded. Every part of me screamed not to look, to turn on every light and drown out the darkness. But I had to know. Gathering every ounce of courage, I reached for the curtain and pulled it back in one swift motion. A breath hitched in my throat. There was nothing there. No face. No movement. Just the empty street below, lifeless and still. I let out a shaky laugh, rubbing my eyes. "You're losing it," I muttered to myself. I shut the curtains and turned away. But just as I reached for the lamp, I heard it again. Tap. 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 A sickening chill crawled up my spine. My hands clenched into fists. I refused to look this time. Instead, I forced myself into bed, pulling the covers over me like a frightened child. My heart thudded so hard I thought it would burst. That was the first time I felt it, a presence. Not just an eerie feeling, but something real. Watching. Waiting. The days that followed were filled with unease. The tapping continued every night, always at the same time. Sometimes it was soft, almost playful. Other times, it was urgent. Desperate. I stopped looking. I stopped acknowledging it. But ignoring something doesn't make it go away. Then the whispers started. At first, they were faint. A breath against my ear when I was half asleep. A hushed murmur when I walked past the window. But soon, the words became clear. Let me in. I told myself it was just my mind playing tricks. Stress. Exhaustion. Anything but the impossible. Until one night, I made a mistake. I answered. No, the room went deathly silent. Even the usual hum of the heater seemed to vanish. The air grew thick, suffocating. And then a voice, so close it felt like it was inside my head. You already did. My body went rigid. Every instinct screamed at me to run, but I couldn't move. My limbs felt like lead, my breath shallow. Slowly, I forced myself to turn toward the window. The curtains were open. I hadn't opened them. And there, in the reflection, was the face. Only this time, it wasn't just staring. It was grinning. A sickening, twisted smile that didn't belong to me. The eyes were hollow, empty pits that seemed to suck the light from the room. Its head tilted, mirroring my terrified expression. I bolted. I didn't stop to grab anything, didn't even put on shoes. I ran out of my apartment, down 4 flights of stairs, and into the freezing night. I didn't care where I was going, I just needed to be away. It's been weeks. I haven't gone back. My landlord has been calling, asking when I plan to return for my things. I won't. I've been staying with a friend across town, but the feeling hasn't left me. Because sometimes, when I pass by a mirror, I catch glimpses of something that isn't quite right. A shadow that lingers too long. A smile that isn't mine. And last night, I heard it again. Tap. 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 Right outside my window. I don't live on the 4th floor anymore. I live on the 10th.